Hi guys, welcome to Mastering the Tarot Tableau. We are going to work through a box spread today with tarot. If you would like to practice this in any way, tag me in on social media. I'm happy to look at your posts. I'll put the overhead on and we'll start reading a tarot tableau. So there are two ways to read a tarot tableau. One is with a person significator and one is without. We'll look at both of them today to see what the best way is to read both methods. We're going to force a significator in to begin with so that we can practice that, and then we'll pull a spread with 0 significators in. As I said in my last video, it really depends on the significator you choose and the direction which they face. For example, I'm using the female cards just because they were the first ones to come out. If you are reading for the Queen of Swords who faces right, then the cards on her right hand side will be considered auspicious. The cards on her left hand side will be considered inauspicious, difficult. In my previous video you can see that and go through it if you're unsure. The Queen of Cups, however, faces to the left, so anything on her left hand side will be considered those easy cards, that auspicious reading, and anything on her right hand side behind her back, if you look at the cues it's quite easy to follow, but anything behind her back will be those difficult cards. I'll choose the Queen of Cups as my significator today, and I'll set my intention for a querent I have in mind. It's going to be a work read and we are pulling out 8 cards to fulfill that 9 card spread, and I'm going to shuffle the significator into those 8 cards and see where she lands. And she's right at the top, in control of her situation. The place that your significator lands tells you something about the story of the interpretation that you're going to do. At the top, they are in control of the situation. The further down they get, the more out of control things are, the more in the head realms they are. In the center is a really balanced position where they know the inauspicious, they know the auspicious, and they're working through them. If they begin at the beginning of their time scale, so their face is looking in, then all the spread becomes an auspicious spread, a super easy situation to deal with. However, if they face heading out, which we call exiting the spread, then it becomes a more difficult read. The worst place is down in the left hand side for the Queen of Cups. For a significator facing right, it would be down exiting on the right. Worst case scenario means that all the cards are inauspicious to her, but also they're also weighing down on her, so presenting their heaviest weight within the spread. The best position is entering the spread from the side at which they are gazing, showing a full complement of auspicious cards in control at the top. Our significator is in that center role. She has 1 row of inauspicious, 1 row of auspicious cards. The cards beneath her become her feelings and behavior, and the cards above, if we had any, would be the thought arena, which is why when they land low down, those thoughts or those processes in our heads of all the cards above are really having a detrimental effect on them. But we see this is, and it's cool that I chose the Queen of Cups, that this is more of an emotional nature because we have those cards below showing feelings and of course behavior. So what she's struggling with, we look to those inauspicious cards first to tell us that storyline. She's struggling with the world. She's struggling with completion of some description. Maybe struggling with everything within her life at work at the moment. She doesn't feel that world card. She feels that it is lacking for her. She also feels super restricted and is considering wondering whether it's the right time to seek an alternative way forward with that Eight of Cups exiting at the bottom. However, she's putting everything in that she has with that Knight of Cups. Like I say, we're talking emotions, we're talking how she is feeling about this, and with the Knight of Cups beneath, she's really there putting action into her work, but from a heart space. So working from a heart space. This can show caring professions, for example, and with the Sun beneath, really pushing that positivity into her workplace. So really trying to feel positive about it while she is balancing all those things that she has to do. And the world being negative to her, and with the Eight of Swords beneath, it could show that she has quite a large amount of things to do, and completion is becoming ever increasingly difficult for her, and which would explain why she's trying to manage all these aspects of that position. With the Five of Wands underneath, we see that conflict in there. It's in a behavioral zone, so it shows that she is behaving in that manner despite the Knight of Cups. It's almost like that whatever she does trying to bring this Knight of Cups forward, she always runs into that Eight of Swords. You can see the Knight of Cups, like I said in my last video, the action runs from the back of the Knight into the front. So it's almost like she's constantly running into that Eight of Swords, constantly running into feeling restricted in her position. However, we do have the Six of Wands and the Sun beneath her, showing that she's doing really well at what she does. She is succeeding at what she does despite the conflict in her as to the right way forward for her. So that's a short snapshot of what a box spread with a significator can do for you. If we took the Queen of Cups out and placed the first card that was in there as the Magician, we no longer have a direction in which we are reading. So we automatically go to the left to right reading preferences. We look at that center card, that Knight of Cups, again, that heart space action, moving into that restriction of the Eight of Swords. This time, however, it has the Magician above it. So we're not talking so much about feelings anymore. We're talking about a pure situation being shown. When a querent or a significator card falls within a box spread, it shows that it is an action, an active situation for the querent. Whereas when there is no significator, it shows a situation happening that she isn't necessarily driving. So taking that heart space action that she is taking, seeing that conflict running into that restriction, we naturally start at this left-hand side and move the narration out to the right. The natural flow is from the top left-hand side to the bottom right-hand corner. So we start with that Two of Pentacles, showing that in the month ahead, she is absolutely trying to prioritize and trying to get all her balls moving in one in the job. But there is a great amount of conflict within her working space. It's a conflict that actually does push things along, because whilst this conflict is going, we still have the Six of Wands, that natural progression from a 5 up to a 6 into the Sun. So despite her having so much on her plate with other people, she's trying to balance that, and she's coming out actually on top with that Six of Wands at the bottom. She's trying to use all her skills with that Magician at the top and the Knight of Cups beneath and the Sun beneath, all her skills of positivity and all her skills in the workplace to move this situation from that conflict. But she ends up, although we do have that completion of the world and are getting stuff, it's still not giving her that satisfaction because we have the Eight of Swords in there. So you see that this is moving into a more negative position, showing that decent position when we start the month off, moving out at the end of the month to a much more negative situation. So with that completion of the world, with her getting her stuff done, using everything she can, trying to G everybody along with it from that battle point into a more stable way, using all her positivity and energy within it, she's coming up against restrictions, and really by the end of the month thinking or feeling that she needs to get away from this. It doesn't, although we do have positive cards in there, we see that success, that positivity moving into the Eight of Cups, saying, I've had enough, I've expended everything I can on you, and it's time now for me to move on and really move away from everything within the company that is restricting me. The world also showing that completion of the workplace, even with that Eight of Cups beneath, showing that she is ready to end that and move forward into that new chapter. As you see, it's quite easy to get a lot of information out of a box spread. Think about when your querent lands, what that actually means. It actually puts a lot of action in there for the querent. It's a situation that is touching them personally because they've come up in the spread to show what they are struggling with those inauspicious cards, to show what they are actually dealing with greatly in those auspicious cards. But then when the querent doesn't land in their own spread, it becomes a situation. Yes, we are in that situation, but it takes it out of our control somewhat. It leaves those decisions, those actions to other people. It speaks of other people in the mix even, especially with that Five of Wands. Have a go at the tarot box spread. Tag me in anywhere on social media at The Card Geek, and you can get your Mastering the Tarot Tableau on Amazon now. Links underneath. Don't forget to subscribe, press the like button, and share this. Have a wonderful day.